It had been 2 years since Leo last saw Maya. She didn't move to another city, not even another country. She moved to another world. When the first human colony on Proxima b opened its doors, Maya was one of the chosen few, a brilliant botanist, picked to grow food in alien soil. Her face was on every news channel. The future of Earth grows with her, they said. Leo remembered watching the launch from his tiny apartment, coffee going cold in his hand, heart sinking with every second. Of countdown, he had wanted to be happy for her. And he was truly. But joy doesn't stop the ache of an empty chair at the dinner table, or the silence where laughter used to be. They tried to stay close. Messages at first flew back and forth. Funny stories, old memories, pictures of strange red plants curling toward artificial suns. But space has a way of stretching time. A message took 14 minutes one way. By the time Leo replied, Maya had already moved on to her next task. Conversations grew shorter, then rarer. Then stopped. Now, Leo sat on the roof of his building in Chicago, staring up at the stars. The city lights blurred them, but he knew which one was Proxima Centauri, a faint red dot in the southern sky. That's where she was. 4.24 light years. Away. Too far to wave. Too far to shout. Too far to hug. He missed her voice. Not the recorded messages, but the real thing. The way she laughed when something surprised her. The soft hum she made when she was thinking. The way she said his name like it meant something special. They weren't lovers. Not really. They were something deeper. Childhood friends who grew up side by side, who shared secrets under backyard tents, who promised they'd never let life pull them apart. But life, and space, and duty had other plans. Leo worked at a small tech lab, helping design communication systems for deep space. Irony wasn't lost on him. He spent his days making it easier for others to stay connected across the void, while he himself felt more alone than ever. One evening, as he walked home through the quiet streets, rain tapping gently on his umbrella, he passed a mural painted on the side of an old school. It showed Earth from space, glowing blue, with the words, "No matter how far we go, we carry home with us." He stopped, stared. Something cracked inside him. That night, he sat at his desk, opened a new file, and began to type. Not an email, not a message. A story. He wrote about 2 kids who built a cardboard rocket in a garage and dreamed of flying to Mars. He wrote about late-night talks, fireflies in jars, promises whispered under the stars. He wrote about missing someone so much it feels like a bruise on your soul. He wrote about hope, fragile, stubborn, unkillable hope. And at the end, he added, "If you're reading this, Maya, I'm still here, and I still remember. And if you ever want to come back to the garage, I'll bring the flashlight." He attached a small audio file, a recording of crickets from the park near their old neighborhood, mixed with the distant sound of a train whistle. Their sound. Their signal. Then he sent it, not through the usual channels, not to her work inbox, but to the public archive channel used by colonists for personal logs. A place where messages floated like leaves on a river, waiting to be found. He didn't expect a reply. Not soon. Maybe not ever. But he had to try. Weeks passed. Leo kept working, kept walking the same streets, kept looking up at the stars. Then, one cold morning, his console pinged. A notification. Incoming personal archive. Priority low. Origin. Proxima b. His breath caught. He opened it. It was a video. Maya sat in a small greenhouse, surrounded by strange purple vines and glowing moss. She looked tired, older, but her eyes, bright, warm, familiar, lit up the screen. "Hey, Leo," she said, smiling softly. "I found your story." Read it 3 times. Laughed, cried, Felt like I was back in that stupid cardboard rocket. She paused, looking down. I missed you, more than I let myself admit. Out here, everything feels so big, so serious. I thought I had to be strong, unbreakable, like I couldn't say I was lonely, like I couldn't say I wanted to come home. She looked up, but you reminded me that it's okay to miss someone. That love isn't weak just because it's far away. Then she held up a small plant, green leaves, white flowers. I grew this from earth soil, named it Homo sapiens nostalgia. Joke, right? But I want to bring it back one day. And when I do, I'll need someone to help me plant it. Her smile widened. So, save me a spot in the garage? The video ended. Leo sat still. Then, slowly, he began to cry. Not from sadness, from relief. From hope. He wiped his eyes, stood up, and walked to the window. The sky was clear. Stars shimmered above the city. He whispered, "Always, Maya, always." And far away on a red world, beneath an alien sun, Maya played his cricket recording while she worked. A tiny piece of earth, carried across the dark. Distance had tried to break them. Silence had nearly won, but humanity, flawed, feeling, stubborn, had done what it does best. We remember. We reach. We rebuild. And sometimes, all it takes is one story to close the gap between stars. Asterisk, he wanted to. Oh, how he wanted to. The moment the video ended, his fingers hovered over the keyboard, ready to type 100 messages at once. I miss you. I'm so glad you're okay. When are you coming back? Don't go. Stay. Come home. But he stopped himself, because he remembered something Maya once told him years ago, when they were 16 and watching a meteor shower. The best signals aren't loud. They're clear, like a single note in a quiet room. So instead of a flood of words, he waited. And thought. And planned. Maya was far away, not just in space, but in time. Every message took minutes to travel one way. A conversation wasn't. A chat. It was a slow dance, each step taken in silence, each reply landing like a leaf on still water. Leo knew that if they were going to reconnect, they couldn't rush. They had to build something real, something that could survive the distance. So he did what humans do best when faced with the impossible. He got creative. He went to the lab where he worked and asked for access to an old satellite, one that had been decommissioned after a failed mission to Mars. It was outdated, nearly forgotten, but it still orbited Earth, drifting like a ghost. His boss raised an eyebrow. Why? It's just collecting dust up there. Leo smiled. Maybe, but it still has a voice. He spent nights rewiring the satellite's signal system, stripping it down to its core frequencies. He wasn't sending data. He was sending meaning. He loaded it with a simple loop, a recording of their favorite song, an old acoustic tune they used to play on repeat during road trips, mixed with the sound of waves from Lake Michigan, and beneath it all, a steady, slow pulse. Beep, beep, not random, not noise. Morse code. The message said, "I'm here, always." He activated the broadcast on a quiet Sunday morning. The satellite, silent for years, blinked back to life. A soft signal began to pulse into space, not aimed at any one place, but sent outward like a lighthouse beam, a signal of presence, a signal of hope. On Proxima B, Maya was checking soil samples when her personal comm device flickered. The audio feed had picked up something strange, a repeating signal on a low-frequency band, one usually reserved for deep space debris. Curious, she ran it through a decoder. The music came first. Her breath caught, then the waves, then the beeping. She closed her eyes as the message unfolded in her mind. I'm here, always. A tear slipped down her cheek. She laughed, a soft, broken sound. You always did hate talking too much, she whispered, but she knew this wasn't silence. It was the opposite thought. It was Leo saying, I haven't forgotten. I haven't left. I'm still with you, even if the universe is in the way. She didn't send a video this time. She sent a gesture, using the colony's small observatory. She aimed. A narrow laser beam toward Earth, not to transmit data, but to flash. 3 short pulses. 3 long. 3 short SOS, but also, I see you. And beneath it, encoded in light patterns only Leo would recognize. A sequence from their childhood. Game. Find the hidden star. A game they played every summer, lying on the grass, searching for the faintest point of light. This time, she wasn't just playing Dot. She was answering Dot when Leo saw the report. Unidentified laser pulse from Proxima B. Pattern matches non-standard. Communication. He didn't need analysis. He ran to the rooftop again, his heart pounding. He pulled out a small handheld laser, the kind used for presentations, and aimed it at the sky, not at Proxima Centauri. That was impossible to reach with such a weak beam. But it wasn't about being seen. It was about trying. He pressed the button and sent the same signal back. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. Then he added, next to Orion's belt. You always looked there first. He didn't know if she'd ever see it. The beam would scatter, fade, vanish long before it crossed the void. But it didn't matter, because for the first time in years, Leo didn't feel like he was shouting into darkness. Felt like he was part of a conversation, slow, quiet, but real. Days passed. Then, a new message arrived, not through official channels, but piggybacked on a scientific data stream from the Proxima colony. It was a photo. A small greenhouse shelf, where Maya had placed a tiny earth plant, the one she'd shown him, Homo sapiens nostalgia. Beside it, she'd set up a small solar-powered receiver, linked to a speaker, and on the screen of the device, a waveform pulsed steadily. It was the satellite signal. She had tuned her world to his voice. Below the photo, she wrote, I play it. Every night before sleep, it sounds like home. Thank you for not giving up on me. Leo sat in his chair, the message glowing on his screen, and for the first time in a long time. Every night, just before bed, he sat by his window with a small notebook and wrote down one memory. Not big things. Not birthdays or holidays. The tiny moments, the kind most people forget. Maya laughing so hard she snorted when a squirrel stole. Her sandwich at the park. The time she tried to bake cookies and set off the fire alarm. How she always tied her. Left shoelace twice, just in case. He didn't write them for her. Not at first. He wrote them because remembering made the distance feel smaller. Like she was still there, in the quiet of his room, in the echo of a laugh he could still hear. But one night, he thought, what if I send them? Not all at once. Not as a message saying, I miss you, but as something gentler. Something patient. So, he began sending one memory each week. Not through official channels. Not as files or videos. He typed them into a public archive called Voices of Earth, a digital library where people shared stories, songs and thoughts meant for no one and everyone. Each entry was short, simple, labeled with a code, MO1, MO2, MO3. And at the end of each one, he added the same line. If you're out there, I hope you smile. On Proxima B, Maya was struggling. The colony had survived its first harsh winter, but morale was low. The sky was always red. The wind howled like a lost animal. Some of the settlers talked about requesting early return flights, even if it meant leaving their work behind. Maya wanted to stay. She believed in what they were building. But her heart was tired. Then, one evening, while browsing the voices, of Earth Archive to distract herself. She saw it. MO7. The Great Ice Cream Disaster of 2028. You bought 2 cones, 1 for each hand. Efficiency, you said. But then you tripped on a crack in the sidewalk. Both cones flew into the air. One landed in a trash can. The other, well, it hit Mr. Callahan's dog. You apologized for 10 minutes straight while the dog licked chocolate off its nose. You still owe that dog a treat. She read it, and read it again. Then she laughed, a real deep laugh that startled her roommate, because she remembered. Not just the event, but the sun on her arms, the smell of summer grass, the way Leo had tried not to laugh, but failed. She looked at the tag, posted 3 days ago. From Earth. Her breath caught. She scrolled back. Found MO1. You taught me how to whistle with a blade of grass. Took me 47 tries. You said, you're not bad. You're just human. Then MO3. You cried when the old oak tree in your backyard was cut down. I didn't say anything. Just sat with you under the stump all afternoon. Each one was a thread. And together, they were weaving something stronger than distance. She saved them all in a private folder. Named it. Earthsounds.Leo didn't know she was reading them. He kept writing, kept sending, and slowly something changed in him. He wasn't just remembering the past. He was honoring it. Not with sadness, but with care, like tending a garden. He started adding small drawings. A doodle of the squirrel. A sketch of the ice cream cone in mid-air. Nothing perfect. Just honest. And one night, he included a new kind of message. Not a memory, a question. 1-8. What does the wind sound like there? I bet it's nothing like ours, but I'd still like to know. If you ever want to tell me. He sent it and waited. Weeks. Passed. Then, one quiet morning, his console pinged. Not a video. Not a voice call. A sound file, labeled Wind on Proxima B 3.1442. He played it. At first, it was just a low hum, deeper than Earth's wind, slower, like the planet itself was breathing. Then, a high whistle through the metal corridors of the colony. Then, faintly, the creak of a solar panel shifting in the breeze. And beneath it all, almost hidden, a soft, rhythmic tapping. He listened again, and again. Then he realized it was someone knocking. 2 short taps. 1 long. There. Old code. I'm thinking of you. His chest tightened. She had recorded the wind and added herself to it. He played it over and over, like a song. Then he opened his notebook and wrote, M19. The wind there is lonely, but it carries your knock. And that makes it home. From then on, it became a quiet exchange. Leo sent a memory. Maya sent a sound. He told her about the cherry blossoms blooming early this year. She sent the sound of water dripping in the greenhouse after a storm. A rare thing on a dry world. He wrote about the old bookstore they used to visit. She sent a recording of her humming their favorite song while tending the plants. No grand declarations. No promises of return. Just small, steady acts of presence. And slowly, the distance didn't feel like a wall. It felt like a bridge. Built not of steel or wires, but of shared moments. Rebuilt one memory, one sound, one heartbeat at a time. Night, Leo received a longer message. Still not a video. Still not a call. A letter. She wrote, I used to think moving here meant leaving Earth behind. But you've shown me that home isn't a place. It's the people who remember you, who keep your stories alive, who listen to the wind and hear a knock. I'm not ready to come back yet. There's still work to do here. But I want you to know I'm not lost, and I'm not gone. I'm just growing in a different soil. Thank you for not letting me fade. Leo. Read it once, then again. Then he walked to the roof, looked up at the stars, and whispered, "Never, Maya, never." The galaxy is full of distances, between planets, between people, between past and present. But humanity has always known how to cross them, not with speed, not with force, but with meaning. We remember. We share. We listen. And sometimes the softest signal, a memory, a sound, a knock in the wind, can travel farther than any ship, because love isn't measured in miles. It's measured in moments. And as long as we keep sharing them, no one is ever truly gone. He thought they were just habits dressed up in meaning. But that was before the silence, before the distance, before he learned that sometimes the only way to hold on is to do something, even if it seems small. So now, every Sunday night, he lit a candle, not for religion, not for magic, for Maya. He placed it on the windowsill where the flame flickered, against the glass, reflecting the city lights and the dark sky beyond. Then he opened his notebook and wrote one sentence, not a memory, not a question, but a promise. "I'm still here." Simple, quiet, but true. He didn't send it, not right away. He let it sit like a seed in soil until it felt ready. On Proxima B, the days were longer, the sun weaker. The nights stretched like shadows that never fully left. Maya had started her own ritual. Every evening, after her work in the greenhouse, she played a sound file on an old speaker, the one Leo had sent months ago, with the crickets and the train whistle. The speaker was cracked, the audio slightly warped, but she played it anyway. It wasn't just noise. It was a thread, a reminder that somewhere, under a different sky, someone still thought of her. One night, as the crickets chirped through the thin air of the colony dome, she closed her eyes and whispered, "I hear you." Then she opened her comb device and recorded a new file. Not wind, not rain, not the hum of machines. Her voice. She sang, not perfectly. Her voice cracked on the high notes, but it was their song, the one they used to belt out from the back seat of Leo's old car, windows down, summer air rushing in. She sang it all the way through, then added softly, "I'm still here too." She didn't send it to him directly. Instead, she uploaded it to the Voices of Earth archive, labeled, "For the Boy with the Flashlight." Leo found it on a rainy Thursday. He was browsing the archive, looking for something light. When he saw the title, his breath stopped. He pressed play, and there she was. Her voice, a little older, a little tired, but hers filled his small apartment. The song started shaky, then grew stronger, like she was finding her courage with each note. When it ended, silence filled the room. Then, slowly, Leo began to cry. Not from sadness, from recognition. She hadn't just sung a song. She had crossed the void. 4.24 light years. Years of silence, miles of misunderstanding, and she had bridged it all with a single, imperfect melody. The next Sunday, Leo didn't write a sentence. He brought his old guitar, dusty, out of tune, forgotten for years, and sat by the window with a candle burning beside him. He played the song, not perfectly. He missed a chord, laughed, started again. Then, when he got it right, he recorded it. At the end, he said, "This one's for the girl who grew earth in alien soil." He uploaded it to the archive. Same label. Same quiet hope. Back on Proxima B. Maya played Leo's recording every night. She showed it to the other colonists. "This," she said, "is what Earth sounds like." They listened. Some smiled, some got quiet. One cried. "It's not just music," she told them. "It's connection. It's proof that no matter how far we go, we don't have to forget who we are." She started a new project, a small garden inside the colony's common dome. Not just for food, For memory. She planted earth seeds, daisies, lavender, clover, and labeled them with names. For Leo. For Chicago summers. For the park where we watched fireflies. And every time someone passed by, she told them the story behind each plant. She wasn't just growing flowers. She was growing home. Months passed. The exchange continued. Leo sent a poem written in the rain. Maya sent a video of her garden blooming. Under artificial light, he told her about a new job teaching communication, tech to kids. She told him about training a young botanist to take over her work. They weren't rushing back to each other. They weren't pretending the distance didn't exist, but they were building something new. Not the friendship they once had, but one shaped by time, by growth, by the quiet courage of not letting go. Then, one night, Leo received a message unlike any before. Not audio, not text, a data packet. Inside, blueprints. But then he visited the new community dome on the edge of Chicago, a glass-covered greenhouse built not for food, but for memory. Inside, rows of small plants grew under soft, warm lights. Each had a tag, not with scientific names, but with stories. Daisy grew from a seed saved after the storm of 2031. Leo and Maya danced in the rain that night. Lavender smelled like Grandma's porch. We sat there for hours, drawing constellations in the air. Clover found in the park where we promised to stay friends, no matter what. This was Earth Remembered, a project inspired by Maya's garden on Proxima b. What she started as a personal act had become a movement. People from all over the planet sent seeds, stories, and songs. Every plant was a message. Every bloom, a connection. Leo walked slowly through the rows, his breath fogging the cool glass. He stopped at one plant, a small green shoot with delicate white flowers. The tag read, Homo sapiens nostalgia, first grown on Proxima b. Returned to Earth, still growing. His chest tightened. She had sent it back. Not her, but a piece of her. A living thing that had survived alien soil, long darkness, and the silence of space, now rooted in Earth again. He knelt and gently touched a leaf. Hey, he whispered. You made it? On Proxima b, Maya stood in her greenhouse, watching a new batch of Earth seeds sprout under red-tinted lights. The work was harder now. Some plants refused to grow. Others changed in strange ways, leaves turning silver, roots twisting deeper than they should. But she didn't give up, because she had learned something in the years. Since she left, growing, things isn't just about science. It's about faith. Faith that life will find a way. Faith that roots will reach, even in foreign ground. Faith that love, like seeds, can lie dormant and still bloom. She looked up at the wall of her greenhouse, where a small screen played a loop of videos from Earth, clips of people planting, singing, lighting candles, playing the satellite signal at night. One video showed a child placing a drawing beside a receiver, a stick figure Leo and Maya holding hands under a tree with stars above them. The caption read, They're not alone. The signal connects them. Maya smiled. She hadn't just kept her promise to grow food. She had grown hope. And somehow, across the void, it had grown back on Earth too. Leo started writing again. Not just memories. Not just letters. A book. He called it The Quiet Ways We Stay, a collection of small moments, quiet signals, and the invisible threads that hold people together. He wrote about the candle. The satellite, the Morse code, the song in the wind. And he wrote about Maya, not as a lost friend, not as a distant memory, but as someone who had taught him how to love across silence. He didn't know if she'd ever read it, but he sent it to the Voices of Earth archive anyway. With one note. For Anyone who misses someone they can't reach. You're not broken. You're human. And that's enough. Months later, a new message arrived. Not from Maya, from a stranger. A young man named Kato, living in a research station on Titan. I read your book, he wrote. I'm here because I wanted to explore. But I didn't expect to miss my sister so much. We used to walk by the sea every morning. Now I'm surrounded by ice and silence. But last night, I played your satellite signal through the station's speakers. And for the first time, Titan didn't feel so cold. So I built a small receiver. I play it every night. And I imagine her walking beside me, even though she's millions of miles away. Thank you for showing me that distance doesn't have to win. Leo read it 3 times. Then he forwarded it to Maya. With just 2 words. We're not alone. She replied the next week. Not with a long letter. Not with a video. A single photo. Showed her greenhouse at night. The plants glowing faintly under UV lights. The receiver pulsing softly in the corner. Beep, beep, beep. And on a small table, open beside it, a digital tablet. On the screen, Leo's book. The page read, Love doesn't need to be loud. It only needs to be true. Taped to the tablet was a note in her handwriting. I'm reading it slowly. 1 chapter a week. Like savoring a good meal. Thank you for keeping the light on. Leo sat in his chair, the photo glowing on his screen, and felt something he hadn't in a long time. Not sadness, not longing. Peace. They weren't together. They might never be, not in the old way, but they had built something stronger than proximity. They had built a language, not of words, but of small acts, quiet signals, and stubborn hope. And now, others were speaking it too. One evening, Leo went back to the rooftop. The city hummed below. The stars blinked. Above, he lit the candle. Placed it by the window. Opened his guitar. And played their song. Not for fame. Not even for Maya. But because it was true. Because music travels. Because light spreads. Because love in all its quiet forms is the most powerful force in the universe. And somewhere, on a red world beneath a dim sun, Maya paused in her work. She looked up. Listened. And smiled. Because even across the dark, she could hear it. Not just the notes, but the heart behind them. The galaxy may be vast, that may be cold, that may pull us apart, with time and distance. But humanity has always known this. We do not need to touch to be close. We do not need to speak to be heard. We do not need to be near to be loved. We only need to try. To light a candle. To send a song. To grow a single plant in alien soil. Because even the smallest act of connection can echo across the stars. And in the end, it's not the distance that defines us. It's the light we send through the dark. Asterisk. But one morning, the news feeds lit up with a single message, repeated in every language, sent from every major colony and station across the solar system. On the 3rd sunrise after the next full moon, we will listen. No explanation, no source. Just that. Then slowly, the truth came out. It had started on Mars. A group of young engineers, inspired by Leo and Maya's story, had linked their bases. External speakers to the old satellite signal. Every night, they played the soft, beeping Morse code. I'm here, always. Into the thin red air, as if the planet itself could carry the sound. In a school on Europa, began a project. Students recorded their own messages of connection. To parents on Earth, to friends on other moons, and broadcast them during quiet hours. Then, from Proxima B came the spark. Maya had shared Leo's book, The Quiet Ways We Stay, with the colony's education network. One passage had gone viral. We don't need to shout across space. We just need to say something true and mean it. A botanist named Tarek not even born when Maya left Earth, proposed an idea. What if, for one day, everyone who misses someone far away just listened? Not talked, not messaged, not begged. Listened. And slowly, the idea spread. From Titan to Venus Station, from lunar farms to deep space freighters, people agreed. On one day, they would turn off the noise. They would step outside. They would be still, and they would listen for a signal, a memory, a whisper of love carried on the wind, the static, the silence. They called it Still Day. Leo read about it on a quiet Tuesday morning. He sat at his kitchen table, coffee cooling in his hand, heart beating a little faster. They were going to listen. Not for data, not for orders, not for news, for each other. He looked up at the calendar. The full moon was in 10 days. Still, day would be on the third sunrise after. He didn't know what to do. Then he remembered the rooftop, the candle, the guitar, the stars, and he knew. On still day, Earth slowed. In cities, people turned off their screens. In villages, radios went silent. In schools, children sat quietly by windows, eyes on the sky. Exactly 6 o'clock UTC, a global signal was sent. Still day has begun. We are listening. And across the planet, millions stepped outside. Leo stood on the rooftop, wrapped in a coat, the morning air sharp and clear. He didn't play music. He didn't speak. He just stood, hands in his pockets, looking up. Above, the stars faded as the sun rose. Below, the city held its breath. And then, far away, but real, a signal came, not from Earth. From Proxima B. Single, clean transmission, piggybacked on a deep space weather report. It wasn't long. It wasn't loud. It was Maya's voice. Soft, calm, full of quiet strength. She said only this: Leo, I'm listening too. Then, after a pause, she added, and I remember everything. The transmission ended, but its echo didn't. Across Earth, people cried, hugged, held hands, because it wasn't just for Leo. It was for all of them. For the astronaut missing her daughter. For the student studying abroad, homesick and alone. For the soldier on a distant moon, wondering if anyone still says their name. Maya's words had become a mirror. And in that mirror, everyone saw themselves. Leo didn't move for a long time. The sun climbed. The city began to wake. But he stayed. Finally, he reached into his coat and pulled out a small device, a portable speaker linked to the satellite. He pressed play. The old song began. The waves. The crickets. The train whistle. And then the beeping, beep, beep, beep. I'm here, always. He set it down on the edge of the roof, facing the sky. Let it play. Let it rise. Let it go. Days later, a new message arrived. Not from Maya. From the Proxima Colony's public log. A video. Maya stood in her greenhouse, surrounded by blooming earth. Plants. Behind her, a new device stood humming. A receiver identical to the ones on Earth, pulsing with the same rhythm. She smiled. We heard you, she said. Not just your signal, but everyone's. We turned our external mics to the sky on still day. We recorded the silence. And in it, we found voices, songs, even laughter, carried on the data streams. She paused. This galaxy is full of noise. But today, for the first time, we chose to listen to what matters. Then she looked straight into the camera.